Ever felt like you were built different, but couldn't explain why? Why is it that the Sigma male, the most mysterious and powerful archetype, often has no idea just how rare he truly is? Because even Sigma males don't always understand themselves. Sigmas, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into a paradox that might just blow your mind. What Sigma males don't understand about themselves. You've chosen solitude over popularity, meaning over materialism, and silence over noise. But there are hidden truths about your nature that even you may be overlooking. So buckle up, we're about to hold up a mirror, and what you see might surprise you. Here's the deal. Sigma males are often so self-sufficient that they don't realize how intimidating that is to others. You don't crave validation, and because of that, you unknowingly disrupt social hierarchies. In a world addicted to approval, your quiet independence is like a glitch in the matrix. Here's a fact. According to behavioral psychology, human beings are wired to form groups with defined roles: leaders, followers, outcasts. But the Sigma male refuses to fit any mold. You operate outside the hierarchy, often without even realizing it. That can leave people both fascinated and confused by you. Another thing you might not realize: your emotional control isn't just rare, it's powerful. While others react, you reflect. Neurologically, Sigma males often demonstrate higher activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's decision-making hub, which means you're more likely to pause, process, and plan instead of reacting impulsively. But here's the twist. Your strength can become your blind spot. You might underestimate how much influence you actually have. People notice you, even if you're not trying to be noticed. Your mere presence can shift the mood of a room. That's power most people chase, but for you it just is. So if you've ever doubted your impact, don't. Understand this. Being rare doesn't mean being alone. It means being valuable in ways others can't comprehend. And that's what Sigma males often don't realize about themselves. Point 1. Sigmas underestimate their influence. You move in silence, but your presence, loud as thunder. This isn't just poetic, it's psychological. Sigma males by nature don't seek attention, but paradoxically, they often become the center of it. Most Sigmas don't realize that their very existence subtly disrupts the social order. And that's because the Sigma operates outside the system. He's not interested in climbing hierarchies or dominating others. He's simply, and that confuses people. You're not trying to lead, but people follow. You're not aiming to inspire, but others watch, imitate, and try to figure you out like a code they can't crack. Why? Because people are instinctively drawn to authenticity, and Sigmas radiate it. They don't pretend, they don't posture, and they don't play games. That kind of grounded self-assurance makes waves in a world full of masks. Ever walked into a room and felt all eyes gravitate toward you? That's not a coincidence. That's real-life social psychology at work. Humans subconsciously respond to non-verbal cues: posture, eye contact, calmness. Sigmas typically exude low anxiety energy, and research shows that people gravitate toward those who are self-regulating. Your calm presence feels like control in chaos. And here's the twist. You're not even aware you're doing it. Your silence is mistaken for mystery, your confidence mistaken for power. And your solitude, it becomes a symbol of independence that many long for but few achieve. It's called. You don't wear flashy labels or shout about your success, but people your strength through your discipline, your composure, your detachment. That's why your presence feels louder than words. Even your decision to be an outsider adds to your allure. In a culture obsessed with followers, likes, and approval, your refusal to conform signals something radical: freedom. And freedom is magnetic. So yes, you move in silence, but the world hears you anyway. And if you've ever wondered why strangers stare a little longer, why people hesitate before speaking around you, or why leaders respect you without knowing your full story, it's because you've mastered what others can't fake: quiet power. Own that. Not with arrogance, but with awareness. Because a Sigma who understands his influence isn't just a mystery anymore. He becomes a movement, and trust this, thunder doesn't ask for permission to be heard. Point 2. The depth of their emotional intelligence. Most people think Sigmas are emotionally cold, but here's the plot twist: they're not. They're emotionally disciplined. It's easy to mistake silence for suppression or calm for coldness. But if you've ever been around a true Sigma male, you know something deeper is going on beneath that stoic surface. Sigmas don't react impulsively, not because they're incapable of emotion, but because they've learned how to it. This is not emotional detachment. It's emotional at a level most people can't comprehend. While the average person is quick to lash out when triggered, Sigmas pauses. They reflect. They observe. This gives them an enormous edge in life, especially in high-stakes situations. According to psychologists like Dr. Daniel Goleman, emotional intelligence, or EQ, is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success, even more so than IQ. And here's where Sigmas shine. They're not robotic. They simply channel their emotions inward first, filtering them through logic and purpose. Think of it like this. Most people are like a shaken soda can, pressurized and ready to burst. Sigmas are more like a pressure valve. They know how to slowly release, manage, and redirect that emotional energy before it causes chaos. That's why they rarely get into heated arguments or emotional drama. They're not avoidant, they're calculating. This level of control is what makes Sigmas formidable in both personal and professional arenas. But here's what many Sigmas don't realize, that emotional discipline is rare. It's a form of mastery that most men struggle their entire lives to develop. Society teaches men to bottle things up or to explode in bursts of anger. Sigmas instinctively walk a third path, processing emotions without making them public spectacles. That's not weakness, that's power. And yet, because this trait feels natural, many Sigmas underestimate it. They think everyone can do what they do, stay cool under pressure, remain unmoved in chaos, and speak only when their words have weight, but not everyone can. This is a gift, one rooted in self-awareness and honed through solitude and observation. Point 3, the quiet struggle with loneliness. Let's be honest, independence is your power, but it can also be your prison. Sigma males are the modern lone wolves, self-reliant, mysterious, and often walking a path no one else dares to tread. They don't follow crowds, don't beg for validation, and definitely don't need anyone to complete them. But here's the twist. Even wolves run in packs when the conditions are right. Solitude may sharpen your focus, but connection nourishes your soul. The danger lies in the confusion between, and solitude is intentional, it's a recharge. Isolation, on the other hand, creeps in unnoticed and quietly eats away at your emotional health. Many Sigmas pride themselves on not needing anyone, wearing loneliness like a badge of honor. But behind closed doors, even the most resilient minds can feel the sting of disconnection. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that chronic loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That's not about being needy, it's about being human. Emotional needs aren't weaknesses, they're part of the biological design. The human brain is wired for connection, and neglecting that can lead to increased stress, anxiety, and even depression. What separates a wise Sigma from a stubborn one is the ability to, when independence has turned into emotional exile. Emotional intelligence is the real strength here, knowing when to take a step back and when to lean in. It's the quiet courage to say, I'm doing this alone, but I don't always want to be alone. Connection doesn't mean dependency. A Sigma male can build meaningful relationships without losing himself. In fact, strong boundaries and clear self-awareness make Sigmas some of the best partners and friends, because they don't seek to own or be owned, only to understand and be understood. So here's the truth. Strength isn't measured by how long you can suffer in silence. It's measured by how well you manage your inner world. And part of that management is knowing when it's time to step out of the shadows and into shared spaces, not because you people, but because you to be seen, heard, and valued. Never forget, you're still a Sigma, just a wiser one who understands that real power isn't just in walking alone, it's in knowing when not to. Point 4, they're harder on themselves than the world ever could be. Most Sigma males are wired for greatness, but what many don't realize is how their internal dialogue can become. Driven by independence and a powerful sense of personal mission, Sigmas often demand more from themselves than anyone else ever could. It's this intense inner pressure that fuels their success. But it's also the same pressure that can slowly wear them down. See, the Sigma male isn't interested in applause or validation. He's not climbing ladders for other people to notice. He climbs because if he doesn't reach the top, he feels like he's failed himself. That mindset produces excellence, but it can also breed quiet suffering, especially when the wins aren't celebrated and the setbacks are magnified under the lens of self-judgment. Here's the truth. Relentless self-criticism activates the brain's stress response. Studies from the University of British Columbia have shown that self-critical individuals exhibit higher cortisol levels, leading to fatigue, anxiety, and even burnout. While some stress can push us to grow, too much can cripple the very motivation we depend on. For Sigmas, the problem isn't a lack of progress, it's a lack of perspective. They're so focused on where they be that they often forget how far they've come. Think about it. When was the last time you actually paused to appreciate your growth instead of obsessing over your flaws? One reason Sigmas struggle here is because they tend to operate in solitude. Without a circle of encouragement, reflection becomes internal and sometimes merciless. They review every mistake, overanalyze every move, and dismiss their own victories as not enough. But here's the twist. Being your own worst critic doesn't make you stronger, it blinds you. You don't need to lower your standards, but you do need to balance them with grace. High expectations paired with compassion lead to growth. High expectations paired with punishment, that's a recipe for burnout. So let this be a reminder. You're doing better than you think. Progress isn't always loud. It's found in the consistency no one sees, the discipline that doesn't get praised, and the quiet strength it takes to keep showing up. You don't have to scream success. Sometimes just staying committed is already a sign of it. Being a Sigma male isn't about being perfect. It's about being relentless, but also real. Excellence, yes, but never at the cost of your peace. Point 5, their detachment is their superpower and their weakness. You cut off drama, you ghost toxicity, you exit the matrix, all good. But let's pause for a moment because sometimes that same detachment, it becomes a prison disguised as power. See, Sigma males are known for their independence, solitude, and emotional control. They walk their own path, immune to the noise of social expectations. This mindset is often what sets them apart. It's why they're so respected, so rare. But there's a hidden cost to this superpower. When you've mastered the art of self-protection, it's easy to think you don't need anyone. You've ghosted toxicity so well, you start ghosting vulnerability too. And here's the truth most Sigmas overlook. Not all connections are chains, some are ladders. Some people are sent to sharpen you, stretch you, and bless you. But if your walls are too high, even the right ones can't get in. Studies in psychology show that emotionally avoidant individuals, those who fear vulnerability, often experience higher levels of loneliness, even if they don't consciously admit it. They can operate efficiently in isolation, but at the expense of emotional nourishment. And over time, that can hinder growth. Relationships, whether friendships, mentorships, or romantic ones, are not weaknesses. They're mirrors. They show you parts of yourself you'd never see alone. And yes, while solitude can protect your peace, connection can unlock your potential. Detachment is powerful, but selective connection is transformative. Here's the key difference. Sigma energy isn't about closing off the world. It's about controlling access. You don't let everyone in, but you do learn to recognize when someone's spirit aligns with yours. That's when it's okay to drop the shield. That's when growth happens. Even nature proves this. Trees grow taller when they're spaced apart, sure, but the strongest forests are those with intertwined roots beneath the soil, sharing nutrients, stabilizing one another. That's how ecosystems thrive. And humans, we're no different. So, yes, cut off drama. Exit the matrix. Maintain your inner sovereignty, but don't confuse walls for strength. Sometimes strength is learning to trust again, to open up, to let the right people help build the empire with you. Your power lies in knowing when to stay distant and when to let the right energy in. Because true mastery is not in staying alone forever. It's in knowing when solitude serves you and when connection heals you. Let the blessings in. Point 6, their brilliance often goes uncelebrated, even by themselves. Sigmas solve problems others didn't even notice. They see the cracks before the glass shatters, fix the leak before the flood, and offer ideas that, at first, sound strange to most, only to become gospel years later. That's the Sigma gift, the foresight, the intellect, the independence to not wait for approval before taking action. But here's the kicker. Most people don't even realize what just happened. No standing ovation, no applause, just silence. Why? Because you, Sigma, aren't loud about your wins. You're not announcing your every move on social media. You don't need the crowd's validation to feel accomplished. But here's the truth, that silence can sometimes feel deafening. when you've pulled off something incredible, solved a business crisis, helped someone turn their life around, created something ahead of its time and nobody notices. It's easy to feel invisible. That's why it's to learn to celebrate yourself. Let's look at the psychology behind this. Studies in neuroscience have shown that acknowledging your own efforts increases dopamine levels in the brain, the same chemical responsible for motivation and drive. Waiting for external praise isn't just risky, it's dangerous to your momentum. If no one sees your value, you might begin to question it yourself. Sigmas aren't driven by ego, but that doesn't mean you should reject recognition altogether. Celebrating your success isn't bragging, it's a form of self-respect. Even Nikola Tesla, one of history's greatest Sigma minds, died broke and unrecognized. Not because he wasn't brilliant, but because he never learned to promote or celebrate his contributions. The world wasn't ready, but imagine how much more he could have done with a little acknowledgement. So take a moment, reflect on how far you've come, the problems you fixed before they exploded, the people you helped without asking for thanks, the ideas you birthed that no one understood yet. That was you, quietly brilliant, dangerously effective. And just because no one clapped doesn't mean you didn't perform a miracle. From now on, keep solving, keep building, but also celebrate yourself. Write it down, speak it aloud. Toast to it if you must. That's not ego, it's acknowledgement, and you, Sigma, have earned it. Point 7, they're more purpose-driven than they think. You might say, I just want to live free, and on the surface it sounds simple. No rules, no restrictions, just peace. But here's the truth most people miss. That desire for freedom, it's not aimless, it's not random. Deep down, it's the voice of purpose calling you. Sigma males are built differently. They're not driven by external validation like alpha males, nor are they content with simply following the crowd. Instead, they are pulled almost magnetically towards something deeper, a mission, a vision, a reason for being. That's why small talk exhausts you. That's why you feel out of place in shallow environments. That's why average routines and empty goals leave you feeling hollow inside. You question everything, not because you're rebellious for the sake of it, but because your mind naturally rejects surface-level thinking. This mindset reflects a concept in psychology called the ability to ponder deep questions about life, purpose, and existence. Sigma males unknowingly tap into this, which is why they're always searching for something more, something real. You don't chase the spotlight, you chase impact. The applause doesn't move you, but the thought of changing lives, building something meaningful, or carving your own path. That ignites you. Think of people like Elon Musk or Keanu Reeves, both often labeled Sigma. They don't crave attention, but their actions shake the world. That's the Sigma way. But here's a word of warning. Suppressing that inner fire, the one urging you toward your mission, can lead to frustration, restlessness, even depression. Studies show that people without a sense of purpose are more likely to experience anxiety and a lack of fulfillment. Purpose isn't just a feel-good idea. It's tied to your mental and emotional well-being. So stop pretending you're just meant to drift. You're here for more. Don't ignore that fire. Let it lead you and watch how everything begins to align. Point 8. They're protecting a heart that's been broken before. Let's drop the mask. A lot of Sigma males didn't simply the lone wolf path, they were into it. Trauma, betrayal, rejection, loss. These aren't just plot points in a sad story, they're the sparks that forged their solitude. When people turned their backs, when systems failed, when love became a weapon, Sigma males didn't crumble, they adapted. Isolation became a defense mechanism, silence became power, and detachment, that became their armor. But here's the truth, surviving isn't the same as thriving. Psychologically, trauma survivors often develop hyperindependence, a condition where they rely solely on themselves because others have proven untrustworthy. Sound familiar? That's textbook Sigma. But healing is not weakness, it's evolution. Sigmas are strategic and self-aware, two powerful traits that also make them capable of deep transformation. Remember, even warriors need healing. Just because you wear scars well doesn't mean you should keep collecting them. Real strength isn't just about walking alone, it's about knowing when to stop, reflect, and rebuild. You didn't become a Sigma just to exist in survival mode. You became one so you could rewrite your own script on your own terms. So yes, you're a warrior, but even warriors deserve peace. Sigmas, here's the truth. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. You've been walking alone so long you forgot that your journey itself is the message. Every silent victory, every boundary you enforced, every standard you refused to lower, that's legendary. But even lone wolves need reminders. You're powerful beyond what you realize, and the more you understand yourself, the more you unlock the next level of your evolution. So reflect, recalibrate, and rise even higher. Sigmas, if this video opened your eyes or reminded you of your power, then don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to join a community of lone wolves who are rewriting the rules of masculinity. Apply these truths, sharpen your edge, and walk your path with power. Stay true and stay Sigma.